what a pain that was.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason here. Thanks so much for stopping by today. So in today's video, we're going to do our first small-time car review. Now, I've asked a few of you out there to let me review and ride along with your cars, so I appreciate it. But as a show of appreciation, I thought I would go ahead and do mine first. Now, this is my 2007 Cadillac Cts-V. Some of you out there might already know some things about the Cadillac Cts-V. Now, this one I've had for about the last 4 years. When Cadillac decided to go to this platform in 2002, it was released on the Sigma platform. A lot of people compare these to GTOs and Camaros, but it's just not the same. The Camaros and GTOs, G8s, they're all built on a Zeta platform, which is the Australian platform. This Sigma platform is a little bit more refined and a little bit more expensive to produce. Not knocking the Camaros or G8s or GTOs, those things are absolutely awesome. They're just made in different countries, so there's just some differences between the platforms. Now, this was originally released in 2002 as a regular Cadillac CTS, had a 3.2 liter V6 engine for the first couple years. But one of the things that was amazing about this platform is Cadillac decided to do away with some of the things that they had always been known for. They got away from the front wheel drive engines, and they also finally offered a manual transmission. Now, they hadn't offered a manual transmission since the Cadillac Cimarron of yesteryear. That thing's quite old. But departing from that, they also changed their design philosophy and got into something called their art and science design philosophy. Now, what that does is it gives the Cadillac a much edgier appearance. Cadillac now has pretty much redefined what a luxury car can be. The styling is absolutely out of this world, and the performance matches. This car in particular was one of the gateway departures from the old Cadillacs. This car started being made in 2004 and was made until 2007, the first generation. One of the misnomers about this car is that it has a bad rear differential. Well, the 2004s and 5s did have a significantly weaker differential that came from the V6 model. But in 2006 and 7, they actually changed that in the factory. So if you're looking for one of these, it's probably more desirable to get the 2006 or 2007 model. Another thing that changed when the model switched in 2006 and 2007 was the engine. No more Cadillac with the LS6. They went to an LS2. Now, the LS2 and the LS6 are nearly identical in numbers, but the LS2 brings on its torque a little bit sooner in the RPM range, by about 450 RPM. So there's a little bit more punch in the car, but it's definitely markedly different from the LS6. The LS6 tends to rev a little bit more than the LS2 in my opinion. Seems to get a little bit higher up there and respond better to higher RPM situations. The Cadillac did benefit from the displacement, but not much. Oh, some other differences on the outside is in 2006, GM started to add a small badge to the outside of the vehicles on the front fenders. This is the easiest way, in my opinion, to distinguish an early model from a later model. So if you're trying to pick one of these up and you want to make sure that you get the model with the stronger differential, look for the small GM square emblem on the front fender. So some problems with the car are very minute, really. It does have a very odd lug pattern. I'm not a fan of the 6-on-4.5 lug pattern. It's really hard to find wheels for. Very select companies that make them, and when they do make them, they make them at an extremely high premium. They are not cheap. The brakes are fantastic.
These are 14.1 inches all the way around stock. This thing will stop on a dime. The V2 has even bigger brakes than this, but these brakes from the factory are just absolutely phenomenal. They don't cost a lot to actually replace the rotors and such, and the brake pads themselves are actually really affordable too. So don't let the cost of the brakes scare you away from this car. These things are awesome.
I don't know of another car that scares me as bad as this one when I hit the brakes, with stock brakes that is. Now there's some cars out there with some aftermarket brakes that are pretty sick, but the brakes on this one are all completely stock. Another good thing about the car is the stereo. The stereo itself sounds good, but with the large display you would expect it to be touchscreen. However, it's not.
Here looking at the stock navigation system in the car, you can see that it's got a big bright display. It also allows you to choose between daytime and nighttime mode to change the colors on the navigation itself. Now the navigation definitely needs to be updated with a CD. So if you get one of these and it's nowadays, you might find that a lot of roads have actually changed. You do have to buy a new CD to update this car, but they are available. I haven't updated this because honestly, if I need something, I'll use my phone. The traffic, you do have to subscribe to XM Traffic for the traffic button over here to work. And you also have a 6-disc in-dash changer. There is a way to watch movies on this going down the road though. I'm not going to tell you that. If you want to find it, you can find it on the internet because it's just not safe. I don't exactly promote it, but I have used it myself on long road trips to play DVDs driving down the road. So if you got a Cts-V1, just look that up and there is a way to do it.
The buttons are kind of losing their paint there, which is a little bit of a turn off when you look at the car, but this is my daily driver. I've put about 50,000 miles on it. It's to be expected. Another one of the strange things about the car is the dual mass flywheel. Now this is a relatively heavy car at 3,900 pounds, so to compensate for that, GM went ahead and put a dual mass flywheel in it to keep the engine rotation and clutch engagement smooth. That can make the car feel better, but honestly it's just a big, huge parasitic loss for the powertrain. I'm going to be changing this one out to the LS7 clutch package soon, so make sure you stick around in a future video for that.
More features of the car include dual climate control, and you have heated leather seats. These seats are wonderful. They're very comfortable on long road trips, probably on par with some of the most comfortable seats I've ever had. However, I do not like how the seat belts are built into the seats. It really makes it difficult to put an aftermarket seat in the car. So that's a consideration. If you're going to buy this car, you might not like the seats in it. Now, my radio no longer shuts off when I open the door. That's a switch inside the door that I'm going to need to replace or clean up. I'm not 100% sure yet. I got to do a little bit more research on it. But that's one of the problems that I've run into so far, is when you open the door, the radio no longer turns off. So we'll have a video on that coming up, I'm sure. The AC system in the car is adequate. I wouldn't call it, you know, the best or worst in the world. It does work very well on hot summer days, but sometimes it can actually get to the point where it doesn't feel like it's working as well as it should. Being an AC guy myself, I got to do a little bit of digging into it. I think I might be losing a little bit of Freon from a leak somewhere. I got to check that out. But the system itself works okay. The vents themselves, you have 2 for the passenger and 2 for the driver. This center one right here, I usually just keep pointed straight to the back. You also have a power port here in the back for your passengers and a power port inside here. With the vehicle information system, you have a host of options for your top display here. You have outside air temperature, odometers, fuel range, fuel economy, vehicle speed, timers, battery voltage, oil life, and you can just choose to make the display blank. There's also a track mode on the GPS for if you decide to take your car somewhere and drop it off, you can actually see the route that they took if they end up test driving it. So all you guys at garages, if you start working with one of these cars, just know that you might be getting tracked.
So some future plans for this car. We're definitely going to do some things for the channel here soon. This car is my daily driver right now, but as soon as my Jeep is done and I get to start driving it every day, this thing is really going to go under the knife. We're going to do long tube headers, we're going to do a full exhaust all the way out the back, we're going to do some really stopping by today.